I remember being really little and going to see my great-grandmother, who immigrated here from Lithuania in the late 1800s. She came here from Lithuania when she was 18 and left her family and never saw them again. And I think of her sometimes when I'm struggling with things, and I think, you know, the fact that she could do that for a better life for the generations ahead of her. So we live in Woodbury, and I've had lots of people tell me, you do not seem like a suburban woman, but I am. The things I love about Woodbury is I can walk a mile or a half a mile and get on a beautiful hiking trail, and I can walk through that trail and not see a house. I have a beautiful stream and lakes. The things I don't like about Woodbury is that they don't seem to support small businesses. It's a lot of chains. And lots of people tell me that's the reason why they love Woodbury and why they come to Woodbury is to shop and eat, but the other thing I really love and why we don't move is that we've built a really strong core group of friends with our neighbors, and it's people that we travel with. It's people that I have craft night once a week, and neighbors come over. We have a yearly block party. We bike, and we've gotten through deaths and cancer and kids graduating and broken legs, and it is a great sense of community here.
We moved in here when a lot of other people moved in here too. So everyone was fresh with families and kids that we grew up with and became really close with. I've probably been in almost every single house on this little horseshoe here.
Yeah, at some point in my 15 years living here, I've been in one of these houses.
This neighborhood was all built as part of the reality home show 20 years ago, and all of the homes on the outside of this horseshoe were built by various builders to showcase their homes. Instead of this neighborhood developing over a number of years, it all was built at once, all the neighbors moved in at once, and everybody was eager to meet each other. We have known every neighbor that has moved in and out. Every year there's a block party, so there's a sense of community that's part of this neighborhood.
Our house was the first house in the neighborhood to be occupied anyway. At the time, nobody else was occupying those houses across the street because they had been built for the streets of reality, and they were just model homes. And so it was kind of strange feeling to be the only ones in the neighborhood looking out over empty houses.
And I guess there's Arctic kiwis that grow here somewhere.
I had no idea.
I know, but
Yeah.
aren't they just beautiful?
Yeah, they are. They're just gorgeous. They look so healthy. The extent of my experience is my parents had a big vegetable garden, and I helped pick some vegetables when I was growing up. I am interested in eventually being able to do more gardening myself, and I just was daunted by the kind of soil that we have here in Woodbury. It's a heavy clay full of chunks of limestone. We did the little mailbox garden, and we did that ourselves, and it was incredibly difficult to get a shovel into the ground at all, you know, to dig down any distance at all.
Yeah, and if you run out of space in here, you guys can put it on the other side over there too. You don't have to.
Woodbury is very manicured. You will drive down any street and you will see a perfectly cut lawn and perfectly trimmed trees. We're stepping out a little.
Yeah, we're definitely going to look a little different than a lot of the other yards.
Last year we did a 40 by 80 plot and planted 80 tomato plants, and we had tomatoes coming out of our ears, and we actually had a blast. We had all kinds of different vegetables, and we canned, and I'd never canned before. I'd seen it done, but I'd never done it.
I think since they've gotten into a lot of this stuff in their lives, like kind of later, with them it was a lot of learning, and so they might not have had so much of that growing up. So now that they're learning it, I'm learning it with them, and I can bring that into my own home life someday.
My dad grew up on a farm. They were the first chicken farm that had electricity. There's newspaper articles about being the first one in the county or the area to have electricity in their chicken barn and stuff like that. We'd go every other year to the farm, and there'd be a reunion, and we'd always be on the farm, and we'd play on the hay mound and go out and milk the cows, get kicked in the chest with from a couch. You don't know what you're doing. And so my dad grew up that way, and a lot of his brothers and sisters still live in Ohio and actually work Grandpa's farm. There were 8 children, and there's 54 grandchildren.
Grandparents farmed on both sides of my parents, as well as my husband's parents both farmed. And so if it was homegrown, they had more of it. They had a lot of children to feed, so that was important. And they did a lot of canning, and they needed it to survive.
I grew up in Hutchinson, Minnesota, which is about 90 miles west of Woodbury, on a farm, hobby farm, south of town. My dad had a full-time job in the city. And that's, I think, when farming kind of died out of our generation. Your dad was a farmer.
My dad grew up on a farm. I grew up in Iowa, and everybody pretty much had a farm in Iowa. It was kind of the thing to get off the farm and into the city. So my generation was in the city. It seems to be a cyclical thing, maybe. You know, I think my dad would say he was so thrilled to not be on the farm anymore and not be doing the chores and just mow the lawn.
Let's try this. I'm reading about 500, so I'm getting ready to throw some bread in.
Or you can do this of the same food. It picks up the corners of the bowl.
No, the pattern will stay. Yeah, that's the idea
That's
behind putting it in
lovely.
there. So that one's going a lot better. You know what I just thought of?
All right.
Well, you've gotten the layout of it.
Yeah, I've seen the layout. Well, I don't know if I could really go over it. I know that's a children's garden there for Peggy's daycare kids to work on.
And we saw the wigwam deal. Are you familiar with what that's about?
Wigwam deal?
Must not be. Yeah.
I don't. Where?
No, so that's a part of it. Okay, then you guys, when there's a man,
Ready to plant.
otherwise I think if you like that cat grass.
Go in here.
Lavender, okay.
That is more tomatoes, zinnia, and some beans.
What's zinnia?
I don't know what zinnia is. You're gonna find out when it comes out.
You guys been helping both days?
Hey.
Looks pretty closed up. I've seen her. I think I see her.
That would be right up her alley.
Her bread is really good. The bread that they made is really good.
I'm thinking it's
There is dirt everywhere. Everyone needs help. It's like, oh, I need some help with that. Well, fine. I'm glad to. I used to have my own garden, and I don't anymore. Now I have other people's gardens, and it makes me happy.
She asked me, can I dig in the earth? Can you dig in the earth? And I said, yep. So here I am.
I'll say, Michael, would you like to do this? He said, yes.
Okay.
You want to go here? I'll go anywhere with you.
Okay.
I'll go anywhere with you. Anywhere
Where
you
should we
go.
go now?
You
Where
wanna-
are we going to go?
We can't tell them where we're going to go.
Holy monkey. I heard about it. That's terrible.
Yeah, so definitely need a big crew.
Water, yeah?
My children's grandma has acreage and she does a lot of gardening and they love going out there, and I think they'll be really excited to see that it can be right next door.
That's a rock.
It's actually fairly yellow.
There's a cucumber over there.
I use some mint in the pesto too. Oh, do you? I will, yeah. There was a recipe.
Do I just turn it? John, how do I release an eggplant?
You need to cut it. But that's great in salad, right? And look at it, you put the flowers in the salad? I'm gonna put the flowers in.
Oh, John, it's hot. Okay, so have you been picking the onions and what have you done with those?
We have not picked any onions yet.
Are they not timed to pick yet?
There's probably a couple that are. Get rid of the flowers on the basil and it'll stay nice. So you're here kind of for opening and then I don't know, these guys, oh there's a baby one. For these guys, I say to put vinegar, like apple cider vinegar.
Yep.
We are picking here for our breakfast omelet or something.
Yeah, where are the pancakes?
Where's the chocolate chips hanging?
Yeah.
Chocolate chip.
The herbs are good for flowers will taste like kale and lemon basil. Actually,
even mine gets so tall too, and it just dies off.
walnuts and kale.
That sounds good.
We were just saw that one for a while.
No, pick the middle one, the non-circle. Yeah.
What?
And then it rained every day for
We don't know how many strawberries we get because when the strawberries get ripe, the kids were eating them, but
They can be purple or they can be red. Just depends on the can't. I've never seen it
yeah. How are you? Oh, just gonna.